Welcome to TradeTheNBI.com. This is John's Reports for the 30th of June. Well, we are ending right at the peak. Made new highs. Magenta was still rising. We're seeing the beginnings, though, of the start of the morning here, pre-market. Down slightly. Nothing to get excited about. 9 points here is reaching ABM yellow, which has been rising. Now up to 42.62. If I can't slide it over there to show it enough, but it's 42.62.75. And we're getting a slight turnover here. We're actually seeing cyan overtaking green on a DOC as well. Is it going to have that much impact? Not really. We're still seeing rising shakeout. We're now plus 360 as long as that continues to make its move. Higher and higher, just got to eclipse this previous one. Was all the way up at 704. So it wouldn't be hard. Wouldn't be hard to get to that level at this particular stage. The key that we've been watching, though, is the NASDAQ, because the NASDAQ has been outperforming. As long as it continues to do so, it's going to pull the S&P with it, and nothing changing here. I mean, you've got weight so far below, it's not even close to a possible crossing of red. Now, of course, that could happen on a major move, but we don't have the signs of anything just at this particular point suggesting that we're going to see that, especially when we're looking at DOC with cyan well below red, as well as steel being reset. So all of these things from these indicators are just suggesting that we're just going to pace across. Gold, unable to get anything going here, and we've seen that with the white NBI over magenta, and a move to the 0% was expected, and that's exactly where it's at right now. And that's what's so nice about seeing that capability from a euro standpoint. Euro unable to get anything going. It had the opportunity with the magenta over even after this period of weight above, and really couldn't spark anything with that, and fading off right as we're going through. Bitcoin, interestingly enough, had a couple of spikes of white over magenta in this upper thing, so we were expecting a move towards the 0%. The question was going to be how far it would accelerate and whether it would be the 0% rising. In this case, it was the 0% rising, and guess what? We're exactly at the same spot, that same 34K algo level that's been consistent for, quite some time, actually. So no shocks there, out of the ordinary. Again, brief day. When you look between the two blue lines, that is a narrow range from a 5K chart, just not a whole lot of action happening. We had the spike of weight that took place here, but it happened with green DOC well in the lead, so we knew that any retrace was going to be faint, and in which case it was faint, so it was a matter of waiting for breakdown. Now, any of these breakdowns below the 33, certainly you can begin to think about a position. The problem you've got is, yes, you can have white near the 10, but really seeing white get above the red, and this is where it first triggered in that setup, and then seeing white move above magenta actually helps clarify that, and that's what led to the ultimate decline that took place before. We got the nice DOC orange below red, and we had the dip of steel coming back below, and it was a nice turnaround because you're coming off zero off the red. We were down at -2, and the secondary one was -2 as well, so a -243, -2, so higher negatives, but whenever that red gets to that zero level, you start to think about a bounce as soon as there's a configuration that supports it, and the magenta moved above yellow and then progressed, and that's why you see a series of those white NBIs, because those were all configurations that supported that move, and that took us up to the 100. However, you had white pop above magenta a couple of times within there, so it's just a matter of waiting for the breakdown, and you can see it started with the green dots from the Rachel Hawk, and made new lows. So that did exactly what it portended it would do. So spot on. Indicator updates have been sent out, and we're all set to start start up a new month, and I think got to look into July and expect a little bit more to take place simply because of the clarity that we're starting to see about both spending as well as emerging from pandemic setups. However, now you're seeing huge press on the Delta variant, to try and squeeze things back into place. But I think it's going to be pretty tough when you see how some of these red states have performed economically, far outpacing the blue states that are still in partial lockdown or have restrictions. So I think that disparity is only becoming greater and greater, and that's going to create significant problems. As always, trade well. We'll talk again later. See you on the Skype chat.